Welcome, dear viewers, to CouchWarrior TV on YouTube. I am the CouchWarrior, and you're watching Arcane, a Skyrim Let's Play. Welcome to episode number 75. Can you believe we have reached episode number 75? This is Chapter 9, Part 8. When we left off in Chapter 9, Part 7, we had just left the Dark Brotherhood Sanctuary, having received our next mission to assassinate Gaius Morrow, who we will find in Dragonbridge. We are now back at the Eagle's Nest, as you can see. We are leaving Lydia and Valfar here, taking Nephae with us, and we are about ready to go perform this mission. But prior to doing that, I would just like to honor the late Vittoria Vici. Brothers and sisters, if you would indulge me, let's have an assassin's battle cry for Vittoria Vici on 3. 1, 2, 3. Oh, thank you. That was very satisfying. Nephae's journal. None of us were sure what to expect when we left the sanctuary, and the ride home was silent. I simply chalked this up to exhaustion, as we were all spent from the day's battle and hours on the trail. I have a painful bruise across my ribs that makes it difficult to do much of anything. Riding a horse is very difficult. I have my armor to thank for the fact that I'm alive. While we defeated the contingent of Thalmor soldiers that attacked us, they proved to be capable swordsmen, and I was unable to avoid all of their blows, despite my best efforts. I don't think any of us came away unscathed. It wasn't until we arrived home and were out of the wind that I noticed a stench of burning hair. There was a charred patch on Valfar's bearskin cloak that was giving off a foul odor. No sooner had we arrived when Cimmerian gathered us together. He said he believed he was being hunted by the Thalmor, and after 2 attacks, I tend to believe him. Taking more precautions would be necessary until we could fully assess the threat. I asked him why the Thalmor would be interested in his life, but before he could answer, Valfar said he was the Dragonborn. He said it with such reverence. I was momentarily taken back. Cimmerian did not deny the fact, but asserted that we must not travel together for a time. As you can imagine, this was met with vigorous protest from both Valfar and Lydia. I cannot imagine either one of them letting him out of their sight. After some heated debate, I could see the fury building in his eyes. I knew that look well. You are speaking to Cimmerian. Hold your tongues lest you lose them. I'm not sure why I said that, but it just came out. The room fell silent, and the decision was made. He and I would travel together, him posing as a merchant, and I a caravan guard. We would purchase a wagon in Whiterun to make the guys more convincing, and Valfar and Lydia would follow a half a day's ride behind. We looked over the maps and agreed that we would come together at Robber's Gorge in 2 days' time. This should be interesting. Interesting indeed, brothers and sisters. We've got a little dragon action going on here. I think it's worth stating that at this point, I did get into a lengthy battle with the dragon, but I chose not to show it because nothing came of it. I did a bunch of damage on him and then he flew away. So there was no soul to be absorbed, there was no final battle, and honestly it ate up about 10 minutes of time that we could be spending, following the story. So I cut it out, but in the interest of full disclosure, I'm letting you know what happened there. he seemed to be preoccupied with something across the river, so he never really got close enough for me to get a killing blow. I got him down to about half his health, and that was about the best I could do. So here we are in Whiterun. As Nephae mentioned in her journal entry, we are going to pose as merchants traveling the roads of Skyrim. In order to make this convincing, Fleet is going to spend some septims on that wagon you can see in the background there. We are going to use that as our wagon. Fleet will disguise himself as a merchant, and Nephae will be coming along posing as a caravan guard. My dearest Astrid, if you should happen to step outside the sanctuary door, you will find a chest waiting for you. This chest contains new armor and robes befitting the Brotherhood that I commissioned several weeks ago. They have been modeled after the assassins of old, and as you can imagine, it was not inexpensive, but I am sure you would agree was completely necessary. In our conversations, you had mentioned a desire to restore our organization to its former glory, and I agree wholeheartedly. As the listener, I simply try to do my part. As you know, I am on a job of great import, and I am unsure how long this will take, but I look forward to seeing my beloved brothers and sisters in garments that honor the history of our storied organization and the Dread Father himself. Fleet. Postscript. Do not have me followed again. Well, here we go. We have dropped the necessary coin to purchase this wagon, which is the centerpiece of our disguise. The traveling will be slower, but it should help conceal our identities considerably. At this point, Fleet is mainly concerned about sticking out like a sore thumb. He does not believe that the Thalmor would recognize him on sight, as his identity has been concealed each time he has encountered them. However, 4 black riders traipsing across the countryside on black horses, one of whom is gigantic, I think they would stick out like a sore thumb. So the intent here is to split up and create a convincing disguise that will allow Fleet to kind of travel where he needs to travel without being, quite so worried about, the Thalmor sneaking up behind him every moment. One of the things that is particularly concerning and is really the primary driver for the idea behind this disguise is that the mission that he is currently on forces him to go back toward Solitude. Now, granted, he doesn't have to go all the way to Solitude, but he does need to go as far as Dragonbridge, which takes him a lot further west than he would care to go under the circumstances. So, we are going to take every precaution we can. All right, let's see. Well, that's interesting. Okay, so the way this is going to work, actually, I've got to put on a disguise of my own first. Let's get this set up. So this is a mod called the Gypsy Eyes Caravan, or Gypsy Eyes Wagon. I've just unhitched my horse. Now we're going to hitch it back up again. There was a little glitch there. All right, there we go. Now I need to come up with some kind of disguise. I'm posing as a merchant, so I think I could probably go with some robes. It's necessary that whatever I wear some kind of hood so that Fleet's face is concealed, even if it's only in shadow. So we've got this cheap cowl. I don't know if it's going to look good or not. And then I have several robes in my inventory I could try. One is of conjuration and one of illusion, both of which would provide me some benefits, as I use spells from both those categories. So if I'm going to wear something, I may as well gain some benefit from it, right? That's the way I see it. The bandoliers, I suppose I could keep. We'll just have to see how this works out. So I have these robes of conjuration. That looks a little crazy. I'm not... yeah, the bandoleer's got to come off. I think I can keep the boots and the gloves. Going to go to a more understated weapon. And that hood is just horrible. I'm too vain for my own good. So we're going to go back down to the black hood. We're going to pair up a black hood with that. That actually works out pretty good. It allows him to look sort of dressed up, but it conceals his identity, which is the main thing. We've made it this far without the Thalmor actually seeing Fleet's face, and we need to kind of keep it that way as long as we possibly can, at least until we can figure out what's going on here. Now, because Nephae is actually posing as a caravan guard, I'm going to go ahead and just let her keep her black armor on and her weapons visible and so forth. One thing that I have found is that while Amazing Follower Tweaks does allow you some tools to change out your character's outfits, it is such a colossal pain to try to figure out that it's not even worth it. I mean, once you've got the outfit set, I'm just leaving it because it's just crazy pain in the rear to try to figure it out. There are some presets in there that would let you set a particular outfit for home and a particular outfit for in the city, etc., etc. But I don't really see using that, honestly, especially the city outfit. I can't think of a single city in Skyrim that I wouldn't want to walk into armed to the teeth, just like I would be on the trail. So that doesn't really make a lot of sense. The home outfit I could see, but up to this point, I've had so many hassles trying to figure out how it works that I've given up on it. If anybody listening here is the author of that mod, I apologize. I don't mean to diss your mod. It is the only thing about this mod I have found so far that I don't like, or that I found difficult to use. In all other ways, Amazing Follower Tweaks is just that. It's an amazing mod. Highly recommended. Now this is interesting because this wagon, I mean, it's crazy. It's like an RV. So if you're not familiar with this mod, this wagon is actually big enough that you can go inside it, and it really is a mobile dwelling. It has just about every amenity you can imagine. It's filled with storage. On the inside is all the storage you could ever want, as well as an enchanter's table, an alchemy table, and when you actually pitch camp, those rolls on the side, those are actually like canvases, right? You can actually spread those out to make a little roof on either side, and on the one side you have living quarters, and on the other side you have a blacksmithing setup. You could literally just play the entire game using this wagon if you can stand the slower pace of travel. Now the cool thing about it, of course, is that you could set up camp and just unhitch your horse and go out for a ride. You could make it sort of your mobile base camp, and you could go out on little side missions from this location. Of course, with Amazing Follower Tweaks in force as well, it sort of acts as a dwelling, and I can dismiss but have my followers hang out around the wagon while I go and do other things. It's pretty amazing. Now, my understanding is that it is possible to sit in the wagon itself and actually drive this thing, but the mod author recommends actually riding the horse. He says it's easier to control that way. So I'm going to take his advice, since he bothered to take all the time making this thing. I don't know who this is ahead of us. Looks like a solitary... No, wait. Those are Thalmor. Put on the brakes. Yeah, we can't let this go. They're going the same way that we are. We can't take a chance that we might be recognized when we pass them. So we are going to take advantage of this lonely stretch of road, and we are going to eliminate these guys. Fleet would certainly not be willing to slow his pace, and he would not be willing to ride past these guys and take a chance that they recognize who he is. So we are going to take advantage of the element of surprise. Okay, I'm going to put an arrow up in front of them. Keep their attention forward. Take the guy in back. Alright, Nephae is going to run in. Take another one. Okay, 2 soldiers down. Then we got this wizard. He's the troublemaker. All I need is 1 shot. She's getting close. Okay, there he goes. Oh, he got a shot on Nephae before he went down. Hopefully she's okay. And she is. Threat neutralized.
Let's get going. Let's go.
I'm going to pull over here, And since we bothered to take out these Thalmor, we are going to strip these Thalmor of basically everything. The objective here is that we want to leave unidentifiable bodies along the road. We don't want to leave bodies that are obviously Thalmor. Eventually somebody's going to figure out who they are, more than likely. The hope is that by the time that that's figured out, we are long gone. So we are going to strip these elves of anything that would identify them as Thalmor. Every piece of gear. Now, of course, I'm overburdened now. So, come on. Come on. There we go. I'm going to put the bandolier back on. That'll give me just the carry capacity I need to get back here and stow this stuff. The first thing I got to do is I'm going to unhitch the horse, and then I'm just going to stow these things in the horse's saddlebags. And then we'll hook the horse back up again and continue. Not sure what saddle means. Guess I'm not going to worry about it just yet. Okay, convenient horses. Thank God for convenient horses. So I have a number of questions in the comments from the last episode, episode number 74, asking questions about the spells I was using. Now, I explained the spells that I intended to use in detail prior to performing the assassination, but I will go over them again for you all. The actual assassination I performed using a spell called Ghost Walk. Again, Ghost Walk is part of the Apocalypse spell package mod for Skyrim. That spell allows for 10 seconds of invisibility at the close or after the duration of that invisibility has worn off. You are teleported back to the location you were in when you invoked the spell. Now, it operates in a very, very similar manner to a regular invisibility in that when you strike an opponent or pick a lock, that also will deactivate it. So it's possible to deactivate it before the 10 seconds is up by performing an action. The beauty of the deal was that I was able to actually get that attack in. All I needed was that one hit, and I'm simultaneously striking the target and teleporting at the same time, which makes it absolutely ideal for performing assassinations, especially in a situation like that where I could teleport myself back up to a location where I was not in full view of everybody, of all the witnesses. And I was also out of reach of the guards, so that worked out great. Now, the second spell I used, which is the spell that I used to eliminate the guard on top of the wall, I also used it at the beginning of the battle with the Thalmor at the front gates of Solitude, is the spell... What is it? It also is from the Apocalypse spell package. Bend the Shadows. Bend the Shadows. Sorry, I had a brain fart there. And the deal with that spell, I'm going to pull off here, actually. We're going to set up camp. This should be kind of interesting. We'll go over this, and I'll kind of show you how this works. But Bend the Shadow is part of the Shadows is part of the Apocalypse spell package as well. And the way that works is I fire the spell at the target. Once I hit the target, I am teleported through the shadows to a position behind the target, and that allows me to attack. Okay, so I just activated this wagon. What it does is it lights the lantern above the door, it puts out a stairway, and it opens the back door. And if there is not a horse's ass in your way, you can actually go inside. You can kind of see inside there. Now, the rest of the stuff, now I have to go to either side of the wagon. From this side, I can activate the smithing stuff. And let's see, what does it say on the other side here? Cooking gear and bedding. So let's do the cooking gear and bedding. When I click on it, it pushes me out of the way here, presumably so I can see what's going on and I'm not standing in the way as it's rendering. But you can see it puts out the tarp for us, a couple of cots, some storage, a cooking pot, and a fire. Now, in the interest of abbreviating our travel time, I have skipped ahead. We actually stayed there overnight, so we are one day in and we are approaching Robber's Gorge here now. I took some time while I was there. I did a bunch of enchanting, I did a bunch of alchemy, I did a bunch of smithing, and now we are approaching Robber's Gorge. As you can imagine, it was a long, slow trek with this wagon. You can't really fast travel with this thing. So, a word of warning. If you're going to use this, be ready to just go without fast travel. You can fast travel if you unhitch your horse, but the wagon won't come with you. And, I think if you're bothering to drag this wagon around, you're kind of interested in playing that way anyway and having a more immersive experience. So the garb that I'm wearing right now is my alchemy garb. I still have that on. I figured it was just as good a disguise as anything, so I left that on. And as I said, the night before, we set up camp. We stayed for the night in that spot where I originally had the camp pitched. Now we're going to pitch camp here again. This is where we said we were going to actually meet Lydia and Valfar. There we go. So let's set up the smithing gear. Okay, now it actually transported me to the other side of the wagon while it sets up. That's kind of interesting. I'm not sure why it does that, but it's obviously by design. So when I click on this guy, it's going to do the same thing. It's going to push me out of the way. Yeah. What's Lydia doing? Or no, that's Nephae. What's Nephae doing up there? She's doing some work on the roof, maybe.
We've stopped. What is it?
Okay, I'm going to have Nephae just kind of hang out here. Okay, dismiss, but hang out here. So she should just kind of mill around here using the tools, cooking, doing the things that Nephae likes to do. Hey, horsey. So let's have a little look here. Whoa, hey. There's bear traps around here. Let's disable these. We don't want our horses getting into those. I know there's a couple more around here. Yeah, here's one here. Our horses could easily get into those things. So we're going to deactivate those. Okay, let's have a little look here. So here's the smithing stuff. We've got an anvil. We've got a tanning rack. We've got an armor bench. We've got a sharpening wheel. And while Nephae kind of plays around with that stuff, I'm going to go in here to Robber's Gorge and kind of loot this place. If you remember in the last episode, as we were heading back to the sanctuary, we came through here with our full contingent and we wiped this place out. Now, we were passing through and we were kind of in a hurry, so I didn't take the time to really completely loot the place. I'm going to go ahead and do that now. We know the place is empty, so this is a good opportunity for us to go through here. We can get some coin. We can probably even get some food items out of here that we can take back to our camp, as well as any other miscellaneous supplies that might be helpful. Now, those of you who've been following the story from the beginning know that It was quite a few episodes that Fleet actually came through and kind of gutted this place solo. He eliminated all the bandits here, did it on his own. And one of the comments that I got, actually from more than one person, was that I had missed some treasure that is nearby. This seems like a great opportunity to go ahead and take care of that as well. So my understanding is there is something in the journal that is down underground here indicating where I might find some hidden treasure nearby. So we're going to go down there and take care of that, see if I can figure that out. That would be a nice additional score since we're just passing through anyway. Okay. Some coins. Take the mushrooms for sure. Yeah, here is the journal. Okay, the first part of the journal is really just the bandit chief talking about this impending mutiny. And it seems that she's stashing away some coins and some things of value so that when the time comes, she can make a run for it. So there's nothing here. Had a good haul this week, another caravan or two. Here, I took the boat out tonight and stowed it on the island to the south by the old tree stump. Well, there we go. That's where we got to go then. We're going to take this journal in case we need to refer to it again along the way. But that seems descriptive enough that we should be able to find it. Imp stool for poisons, blister wart for smithing, and health potions. I'll take that imp stool. Come on. There it is. We'll take these potatoes. So one of the things that I've done that I haven't mentioned is a while back I actually upgraded Sky UI, and the new version of Sky UI has a grouping mechanism in the shortcuts menu. So I have set that up so that I can use my function keys, function 1 through 4. Function 1 is assassin gear that is primarily oriented toward archery. Function 2, I have gear that's oriented toward melee combat. Function 3 is smithing gear, and function 4 is alchemy gear. What I'm wearing right now is my alchemy gear, so I can just hit any one of those function keys and he just switches outfits. It's pretty damn convenient. I'm really enjoying that. So out on the trail here, I'm just wearing the alchemy gear. While I was camped last night, as I said, I created a bunch of potions. I did a whole bunch of enchanting. I went up at least 2 levels in alchemy. I went up at least 4 or 5 levels in enchanting, and at least 2 levels in smithing by converting all of my skins to leather and just making a whole bunch of bracers. So if we're out on the trail and anybody asks who we are, I'm just going to say that I'm a bracer merchant. I sell the finest in bracers. Would you care to see my wares, good sir? All right, let's head back to camp and get some rest. All right. We have awoken. I got about 6 hours of sleep. We're going to eat a little something here. And we have instructed Nephae to stay at our base camp. Now, Fleet is going to take the horse, and he is going to venture off to Dragonbridge. Now, our goal here is not to eliminate the target, but to obtain the target's travel schedule. Because of everything that transpired in Solitude, it would be unwise for Fleet to go back to Solitude. And what we do know so far is that Gaius Maro's first destination is going to be Solitude, and it would be suicide to walk back in there at this moment. We kind of have to let things cool down. I think it's dangerous enough to go to Dragonbridge at this point. So we are going to sneak into Dragonbridge as quickly as we can. We're going to obtain the travel schedule, and we're going to get out and come back to our base camp. The objective here is to get the schedule so that we can plan our attack on Gaius Maro for some point in the future. We can choose our location, we can choose our time, and really do this right, do it safely. So I waited until dark, and now under cover of darkness, I'm going to sneak into Dragonbridge and see what we can see. Two things I need to do here. First, I need to obtain the travel schedule, and I need to get my eyeballs on Gaius Maro so that I can recognize him. I need to be able to pick him out of a crowd. I need to be able to identify him without doubt so that when I am following his travel schedule, even if I'm in another city somewhere else, I'll be able to recognize him when he's present. We also know that his father, Commander Maro, could be playing a role in future segments of our plot to kill the Emperor. So it's not a bad thing to get eyes on him as well and identify him. Alright, so I'm going to slow the horse down to a walk, and we are going to quietly enter town. I'm going to leave the horse right here by the bridge. I'm going to observe what this guard is doing. Oh, I gotta make sure my horse stays put. There we go, good boy. Alright, this guard looks like he's heading back up the street. So we're gonna let him pass. And we're gonna have to kind of go up the street behind him here a little ways. So what we've been told is that Gaius Maro is a member of the Penitus Oculatus, and they have a outpost here. In fact, there it is. That's where we need to go. So that building is our focus.
Father, you worry too much. I'll be fine.
I know you will. But all the same, remember everything I said. Stay alert. When you get to the cities, make your observations and move on.
I understand. You're being paranoid. I'm inspecting security, not charging off into battle. There's not a lot that can go wrong.
Son, when the Emperor's safety is concerned, anything can go wrong.
There are our targets right there. We've got eyes on both of them now.
Farewell, Father.
So objective number 1 completed.
Well, this is it then. Look after yourself, Gaius. You're doing your duty, and I'm proud of you, but you better come back to me.
All
You
right.
hear?
Oh, Fido. I may travel alone, but you know I carry you always in my heart. I'll see you soon.
Okay. He is on his way. So we know who he is, what he looks like. Now we just need to get our hands on his travel schedule. We're going to head around the back just to make sure there's not another way in. If there's a back door in, we would take it, but we have to confirm. Yeah, there's one way in and one way out, so we don't have too many options here. So we'll go around front, we'll wait until we're sure there's no traffic out front here. And then we will try to get in the door as quietly as possible. All right. I'm going to get ready with Aura Whisper in case I need it. Unfortunately, it won't tell me how many are inside the building. Oh! That was close. Oh, thank God, he's just going to sleep. All right. I think he's the only one in here. There it is, right there. Thankfully, right on the table. Yep, that's a schedule. Stuff it in the pocket and get the heck out of here. All right, now we're going to exit the same way we came. We left our horse down by the mill. I should be able to kind of go down the rocks here instead of going around the other side. There's a guard coming up that way anyway. Who's seeing me? The goat? Must be the goat. I don't know. I don't see anybody else. Alright. We have one guard coming down the back street, so we're going to hide here in the shadows until he's up the street a little ways. Okay, he's headed the other way, so we'll go ahead and exit. I'm going to walk the horse again until we get on the bridge. Then we will bolt, my friends. I'd really like to thank you all for your continued viewership and your continued enthusiasm for this story. I'm having all kinds of fun putting it together. And I thank you very much for all of your kind words, comments, and support. And that, my friend, brings us to the end of another episode. I want to thank you all for taking the journey with me. And until next time, may all that you do be swift, quiet, and deadly. And to all Skyrim assassins, I salute you. Silence is our battle cry.